like to call the Prime Minister to open the debate.
Thank you, Chairperson, and audiences and opponents. I'm proud to debate in this grand final, and I'm gonna win this one. So that's and our side. We are believing in and originally the debating should in debating judges should be more like the average reasonable person, and they can by debaters persuading them, it can make the wins or lose, and those average reasonable person should decide what the decision of the debate. So before moving on to our first argument, let me define this debate. Our setup is like we will randomly select citizens who are adults because children are incapable to understand, and also like in the English debate, we are like select citizens who can understand English, and also like the Japanese debate, we can select we are gonna select the Japanese citizens can understand Japanese, and also replacing all judges. We gonna replacing all judges to a lot of citizens, like over 100 people, and like we are like because we are analyzing the citizens' answer, we're gonna make a lot of number of citizens compared to the judges. So compared to like professional judges. So let me move on to our first argument about while debating average reasonable citizens or like citizens' wills should be changed the like decision of debate. So first, I have three points. Firstly, about what is judging. The judging is because of the average reasonable person as a rule, and like the debate rulebook says, and also it isn't like more not biased, or it should be like more it should be more not have like it should be like the hear and understand what the debater says, and they should be think neutrally. And also the B, like debaters need to persuade them. Like HPDU is the audience's first. They need to like more sophisticated, and also C, like also the debaters want to, in order to persuade the audiences or the judges, they need to like more clear structures as Onomichi's lectures, or like more sophisticated or rhetorics are also effective, and also the easy structures, or the structures easy to understand is very important to persuade them. Also, and next about why we're now in the presentation using like professional judges in the presentation. First of all, like the problem of the burden, like because in like this tournament, it is very incapable to select the citizens randomly, and like bringing a lot of people to this forced to bringing a lot of citizens to this debate tournament, or a lot of cost, or we needed more bigger rooms or spaces. And also secondary, like not best, this is not best, but just backup plan, because the professionals are like taught to judge neutrally, like the trained to do so, but their background or context of each judges is different from their living, or when where they're from or where they're living. So even if we take those judges like neutral or average and reasonable to some extent, we can say it's completely neutral to what the debater is saying. And thirdly, like if selected randomly, we can achieve the real neutral judging. Like debaters need to speech as clear or simple as possible to make them so sophisticated, and also originally like debating doing debate as sport, they need to like
Wait a minute.
okay.
Do you think making simple argument is enjoyable for you?
So what? No. It's not like talking about like just simple things or just only easy things, but by easy word or like the words that can the citizen understand, we should like do persuade them and make the audiences to making the citizen debate judges to understand and also citizen to think about the point and before the backgrounds or their context by comparing to their experiences or their thoughts. They can make the average of the like world, average of the global society. They can make the decision of all those among those lots of citizen judges. And let me explain about the voting. I think visibility is similar to voting because this is like the actual example of like the all citizens judging, and because like government have the power to make all citizens or like the all random citizens to vote, but our of the debate judging or like on the debate tournament, it is like impossible to. It's very difficult to select random random citizens and make them to those and debate tournaments. And like among normal citizens, they can make government can get the free reflected that this they can see that citizens can reflect their the decision of whole, and they can make those things. And the important point is we believe like our own world can achieve more debate to like the neutrality, and also it can make real decision from the whole government side. So that's why we support this person. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Just to know, I really don't like illegal preparation, so please start your speech right away when you can. And I'd like to call the leader of opposition here.
Many debaters work very hard every day, like in club, so that they will be able to flip their argument or maybe even make a really interesting mechanism that is really interesting for both audience and those who the judge. However, if we make these kind of randomly selected citizens evaluate these kind of hard work, being that actually they will not be able to fully evaluate these kind of people's hard work because they cannot comprehend all their things. Being that this is actively harmful for these kind of debaters that we must protect in the debating community, therefore we are very proudly opposed. Given that, 2 points from Team Up. Our first point is less fun in debate. Our second point is about incorrect evaluation. I'll be explaining these 2 points, but before that, let's do some setups and rebuttal. 2 points of setup. First of all, being these kind of citizens will only be selected in debate tournaments like HPDU, PDA, and so on. Therefore, in debate practices, they're likely to have qualified judges. Second point of setup is that these kind of citizens may be instructed before this kind of debate tournaments. However, it is only a short time because only a few minutes before this kind of match and so on. Therefore, we think that these kind of people are not really likely to comprehend all of the rules. Then on to rebuttals. They said that they will be able to achieve a really audience-friendly speech. However, 3 responses to this. First of all, we think this is symmetrical on both sides of the house. This is because all debaters have also the incentive that they will want to make a really good rhetoric, for example, like Mizushi-san. Therefore, actually, many people already have the incentive to do such kind of thing even on our side of the house. Secondly, is that it is actually rather bad because these kind of randomly selected citizens are likely to look at maybe the rhetoric, but also the too much intuitiveness. Like for example, big words. Like we can say all the people because these kind of people are not really used to these kind of debating words. Thirdly, is that even if we take your argument, we think that actors that we must protect is the debaters. Therefore, if the debaters cannot really enjoy their debating in this kind of community, we think it is actually really harmful, and I'll be explaining that in my points. Then on to our points. First point of less fun in debating. The thesis of this argument is that citizen judges make the debate level lower, which makes less entertainment in this kind of debating. First layer under this. Citizen judges cannot comprehend difficult debates. 3 reasons why. First reason is that these kind of citizen judges don't have a lot of experience of practicing these kind of debates in the first place. Please note that many debaters and also the debate judges in the current situation have practiced a lot. They have seen a lot of debate recordings, and also they already know what kind of debates rules are, and also what kind of mistakes maybe these kind of people are likely to make, and so on. However, on the flip side, these kind of citizen judges are the first time. They don't really know like the debating rules and so on. Therefore, they don't have a lot of experience. Second reason is that these kind of citizen judges don't have a lot of time to understand these kind of rules. Because these kind of people are not really trained, for example, 1 year for this HPDU tournament, they probably don't have a lot of time to actually understand the rules and so on. So maybe they'll be distracted too much on how which speaker role does this rather than the material of these kind of arguments. Third reason is that citizen judges don't know a lot of techniques in debating. So, for example, even if my really good teammates do some flippings, maybe they will say, "What is really flip? Are they going to sit down or something?" and so on. Therefore, they can't really enjoy these kind of debate words. Then on to our second layer, why debaters can't enjoy these kind of debating in this kind of situation. There are 3 reasons why. First reason is that debaters can't use complicated mechanisms or complicated rebuttals. These kind of things are actually inevitable for many debaters because they have a lot of ambition that they really want to win this competition, like I really want to win this one too. And therefore, they are likely to actively use flippings. However, they can't because they're judged by this randomly selected citizen that they don't really know. Therefore, they can't use these kind of things. Second reason is that they have to explain more on each word, like a dictionary. For example, even if I want to say like black market, like in a model debate, I will have to explain what is black market in the first place. Maybe some people will say that this is actually really necessary. That is why we are doing this kind of motion. However, actually, we think that these kind of explanations are more needed and actually too much needed because of this kind of motion. This is because we have to explain like a dictionary what black market is really defined and what we think about this and so on. This is actually too much and it lessens the time to do some mechanisms and so on. Third reason is that in the long term, we think that the tournament motion level will be lower just because of these kind of judges. Because many debaters are likely to complain that these kind of judges don't really comprehend the motion so much, they're probably having a lot of this house will ban tobacco and only those kind of things. Not a lot of multinational companies should do something for developing countries and so on. Therefore, we think that many debaters can only do a lot of motion and analyzing, which is actually really fun for many people. This is really bad for them because they have practiced a lot of time to actually do these kind of things. However, they cannot do it in the tournament, which is actually really harmful. Then on to the third layer, why debaters can enjoy it without these kind of random judges. 3 reasons why. First of all, they can explore various ways of trying to have the same mechanism or actually have more better rebuttal, which is really intuitive. And second reason is that many ways of thinking of these kind of qualified judges are really predictable. Therefore, debaters will be able to know what they have to do so that they will be able to convince these kind of judges. Rather, on the flip side, they don't really know how these kind of citizen judges will judge. Therefore, they don't really know what they should do in their speech. The impact here is that you're protecting the entertainment of these kind of debaters, which is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, debate is just a matter that we all enjoy. Therefore, this is really important. Then quickly on to the second argument about the incorrect evaluation. Being that citizens are likely to be distracted by really big words and also the too much intuitiveness. This is because, first of all, we can already see the same kind of attitude on SNS. For example, many people are distracted by the big words of many politicians, and therefore they will vote to the wrong politician and so on. This kind of thing is likely to also happen on debate tournaments. For example, if the opposition side says that they can say more people, even without explaining the mechanism, those kind of citizens may vote for those kind of teams. Second reason is that it is really hard to, it is really hard to trust this kind of each mechanism because they don't really have the ear to actually listen to these kind of things because they don't really hear a lot of the recording and so on. Therefore, we think this is likely to lead to incorrect evaluation of these kind of things. Why is this really harmful? This is because debaters won't even feel the purpose of why they are really debating. If they are not getting the evaluation and also the right feedback that they really need, they won't be able to improve it in the future, and also they will have less motivation to actually continue this kind of unequal game. We think this is the game that we should protect. Therefore, I'm very proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Next calling on the member of government here.
What is debate? Debate is to persuade to agree truly neutral people, which we believe judges are not. And this is why we support this motion. Also, first, rebut to their argument, and then explain my second argument. First of all, their argument was about, well, mainly two things. The first was, well, big words. So if we debaters use big words, then then citizens might agree with it, because the word sounds cool or something. However, we believe that that is why debate has rebuttals. People won't be convinced just with big words. They might agree with it when they first hear the word. However, the opposition side can just argue with it and rebut it. So big words are irrelevant to this motion. They also talked about debate techniques, but we believe that debate techniques are actually a bad thing in current debate. So judges have the bias. They have a bias that the judge knows. Judges have the bias that when they hear flip, they think that their side is going to flip the argument, and that itself is going to be a bias for the judge. If you can really do the flip, then surely the debaters should be able to explain how they would flip and what they would flip in their arguments clear enough so that anyone can understand them. And also, they did not explain why debate techniques are the only thing that is important for debate. For example, trying to talk slowly or making yourself easier to understand. Those are the other important aspects in debate that does give points on. There's even parts that doesn't have to do with the actual talking. So, for example, if I come here faster, then the judge might think of me better or something. What I want to say here is that debate techniques are not the only thing important in debate. So, and also as debate techniques, as I have rebutted right now, are not always good, and in fact, they appear biased and such. Their arguments do not stand. Next, let me explain my second argument. So, as I said in the introduction, debate is to persuade truly neutral people. However, we believe that judges are not truly neutral. So, judges today, they have done debating, and they have to be very good at it to be judges. So, they know two things. So they have first preconception and preference about how the debate should go on. And as I said in the rebuttal, this could be, for example, the flip. Judges will be able to understand what the debater is trying to say with just flip. And also another thing is that judges today are mostly smart and have had academic success. And also they are still confident because they do judge debates all day. So they're in much more privileged class, and most have not felt suffering during their lives. For example, debate often puts death as the greatest harm. However, if judges have lived through, I don't know, suffered poverty or abuse from parents and such, they might think otherwise, as statistical people think. And well, if we actually do take this motion and this House select the citizens to choose with judge in these tournaments, then as they do not know debate and are not biased from from their experiences, and there are also a great amount of them, they'll be able to have many perspectives and many experiences to relate, and they can provide a much more neutral way of thinking because there are simply great numbers. Yes, great numbers is also an important thing here. So judges are, we don't have much judges today because, it's a pretty hard thing to do. So it'll be easier for judges to lean on one side. However, if we have large numbers of citizens, then citizens would be able to be more neutral as our first speaker explained, like in voting, for political voting. It will be exactly the same. Yes, actually.
How many ordinary citizen judging needs for each tournament?
A great many, I guess. So, I guess it should be, we define, I think, about 100. So, if we have multiple debates, then we will have multiple than 100. However, yes, I think it's about that amount. The important thing of my second argument is that all the judges today are trying to be as fair as they can. There's still an unavoidable bias because one, there are too few of them, and another is that they have had a very privileged life, so they don't understand the suffering the more unprivileged people. And yes, this is why we support this argument. Thank you.
Two key crashes in my speech. Firstly, which is better for the judging? Secondly, which is better for debater? Let's talk about first things, which is better for judging. They gave us two things. First, they said that randomly selected citizens is a non-bias. Therefore, this is good. However, the premise of all of their argument here is that only citizen judge is a non-bias. However, we tell you this is uncomparative in this debate. Rather, we think that outside the house, like non-citizen judge is also non-biased. Why is it true? This is because we think that non-citizen judge, which is likely to pass in the debater, and know the importance of the fairness of judging. This is because most of these kind of non-citizen judges have experience about debating. For example, the high school debater, maybe in the past, such as Mitsushi-san, and so on. Therefore, because they know that how they have to judge to the debater, we think unlikely that these kind of non-citizen judges are non-biased. Rather than that, these kind of randomly selected citizens would like to be biased. I will explain later. And then, secondly, they said original debating friends such as the flip would tempt judge. However, firstly, we think flip and tell you. On their side of the house, we think that rather these kind of things are existed. This is because they also on their side of the house, these kind of original debating friends are still existed. Some of the debaters might still use these kind of debating votes, even if in the long term this would disappear, in the short term this is existed. Given that, if this kind of system existed, citizen judge might research the friends, debating friends by themselves, because there is some debater for using debating friends. If this is true, the delta here is that because these kind of randomly selected citizens never experienced debating by themselves, they'll try to judge, they'll rather judge that like this kind of debating original phrase very superficial. For example, if there's a debater but like said that I'm gonna try to weigh and I'm gonna try to weigh, someone like non-randomly selected citizen try to judge, or this debater said the weighing, I'm trying to like put the speaker score 80 points and so on. Therefore, however, compared to the unaccepted has, we think that rather non-citizen judge would try to judge that non-citizen judge do not be tempted by this kind of original debating phrase. This is because, as I said earlier, these kind of non-citizen judge are likely to experience the debating by themselves. Therefore, they'll try to judge this kind of debating phrase very deeply. Once some debaters say that I'm not trying to weigh, I'm gonna flip that argument. Many debaters will try to see that this kind of debating phrase, and also even though after saying this kind of debating phrase, they'll try to look at the mechanization of this kind of phrase very deeply. Therefore, impact here is that we think that we flip it. Yes. Therefore, this is not true. And then what? Okay.
How can the citizen insert the meaning of flips the text?
Sorry, I cannot understand, so my lip speaker answer. And then what we told you that the selected citizens are likely to judge the very fairly. They likely have the filter or own measure. This is because, for example, if there's the debater for very using the beautiful rhetoric, or like for using the very beautiful English, beautiful like Japanese, like pronunciation is super good, that some of debaters might think that, oh, this debater's pronunciation is super good, so I'm gonna try to put the like 80 score, 81 scores, and so on. Impact here is that this possibility would like to be higher because the less experience of debating means that less knowledge about debating. We think experience is really basically important for when you're judging. Why this is so bad? This is simply the body of debating tournament itself would likely to be going down. We think that this also affects the debaters itself. And then moving on to the second key point, which is better for debater. They said a rhetoric like such as some of debaters will try to use the very good rhetoric, or maybe you will be able to have the easy structure, and this is good. However, we think this is rather bad. This is because if this is true, debating tournament will likely be less competitive. Because many of debaters will try to use the easy structure, you cannot make the difference. Even if you practice a lot, because you have to use the easy structure, because for the judges, not like randomly selected citizens, you cannot make difference. We tell you, this is so not so fun for many debaters. If you're so practiced like many hours in a day, such as the Shibumaku, you can. But however, because you have to suit for the majority of debaters, a majority of judges, you cannot be competitive in the debating tournament. Therefore, this kind of less competitive is very bad. And then we think that this kind of debater who practice a lot is so vulnerable in this debate. This is because they know that, or after that has, they know that the quantity of practice can be proportionate to the consequence for debating tournament. If you practice a lot, these kind of debaters realize that maybe I can win the debating tournament. However, because on their side has less competitive, meaning they cannot make difference with other debaters, these kind of people are motivated, maybe these kind of people try to lose like the quantity of practice, and we think that it also connects to the less quality of the debater. And then also we tell you that we think that this kind of unmotivated debater is so likely because firstly, disproportionate evaluation will happen, but secondly, disproportionate feedback is also happen. Impact here is that firstly, we think that less debaters is very serious because less debater means that less opportunities. You cannot be able to get that many amount of tournament because less debater means that less less fee or less sponsor, and simply debating society will be stagnating. But second impact here is that criticism towards randomly selected citizens. They said numbers of judging will be increased. However, we flip and tell you, rather numbers of judging will be decreased. This is because some of the debaters, a backlash from some of the debaters. Maybe some of the debaters say that on the Twitter, this debater is the Iraja. Therefore, these kind of things will be happening in Sweden, many of citizens debaters will be mentally hurt. Therefore, many debaters, citizen judge, unlikely to opt in the debating community. Therefore, rather this affect the debating tournament. For all those reasons, we are very back to oppose.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. I'd like to call on government whip here.
Our school's OB, Mr. Hiroaki Nakajima, repeatedly told us that judges are babies and they judge without any added information of debating. So that's why we clearly oppose this motion. First, I'd like to talk about the judges. First of all, there are many fabulous judges here, and a lot of them. There are a lot of things in common with these people. It's that they have many information or many knowledge about debating. For example, our second speaker talked about how just by hearing the word flip, they know that maybe they are gonna flip that argument to that one. But however, if we take this, if they are normal citizens, they said that they don't know the word flip, so they have to need extra unnecessary explanation. But we think that is not an extra unnecessary explanation. So first of all, their side clearly talked that the judges know the word flip, but citizens don't. That means that they have the bias that the judges know. Just by saying the word flip, they can persuade the judges. However, you have to convince, if you can convince your judges by actually really flipping, you don't even need to have to use the word flip. You just say that they said that argument is that, our argument is this, so we're spirit. But that is enough, right? You don't even have to use the word flip. So those words, the citizens don't even have to, how can I say, examine the word about the flip. Next thing I like to talk about is that will the judges can make an irrational choice? We think it is yes for two reasons. First of all, our first speaker clearly talked that there are enough number of people. So like their side said that there are maybe weird people who are attracted by big words. Even if it is actually true, it is not true, but even if it is actually true, there are enough number of people, so those bias or those kind of opinion leans are not easier to be reflected than the present situation. Also, like I said, using big words can attract the people. Maybe yes, it is yes, but will it really changes Okay. I'd like to give an example to you. For example, in elections, like our second speaker said, there are NHK から国民を守ると, they frequently use these big words. For example, I will break the NHK. If the real audience is really being moved from those big words like I will break NHK, the NHK から国民を守ると will be the leader of Japan, right? But they aren't, because the normal citizens are able to think rationally about which is better on the on the mechanism or the explainment of their words. Okay. Next, I like to talk about okay.
So on proportional side, still accept the tournament. You should practice with your coach. You should practice non-citizen judge. Why it is possible for debaters to change their speech style only for debating tournament?
Okay, I like to talk about that. But for example, first of all, it is that they can't just practice with a whole lot of citizens in the practice, that we think that we should take those citizens in the practice if they can, because yes, and if they really can, but we think that those judges can actually. Sorry, I'll talk about it later. Okay, first I'd like to rebut to their plan about simple motions or simple argument they will make so the debate will get more late. We think it is not true, because even if they are maybe simple motions, if they have the skills of debating, they can deepen their mature argument more and more. For example, the day before yesterday's model speech, the motion was "we should ban tobacco." It was really, really easy and simple motion, but the debate was so impressive. There are many points from either side of those, from the government and the opposition. That means it's not the motion or not the argument that is making the competition lame. It is the people's, the debaters' sense or debaters' skills of persuading the judges. So that means that it's, even if we take this motion, if the debaters can really persuade normal citizens, the debate will still be fun, right? There is no reason the debate will be lame or those kind of stuff. Okay, next I'd like to talk about what are debates. I think it is a theme to persuade innocent people from scratch that their side is superior. First, using face expressions. Second, using catchy sentences, including big words like their side said. 3, slowing their speech like Mr. Onomitsushi. These are all the techniques of debate, we think. It's not just words or the mechanism they said like their side. These expressions are also one of the skills or one of the ways to persuade the judges. For example, there's President Trump. The President Trump uses very easy words on his speech or in his election speech. Why? But because the citizens don't know those complicated sentences or complicated words. But it is his skill that he can use those easy words and still can persuade the citizens and make them vote for him. So, for these reasons, we don't think that it is the problem of the normal citizens or judges. We think it is the problem of the debaters and the skills of debaters to make it more fun or even make it lame. So that's why we support this motion.
For that wonderful speech, I call to call on the opposition here.
Three things in my speech. Firstly, decision of judges. Secondly, the content of speech, and thirdly, vain. So firstly, decision of judges. Under this, two things. First of all, the characteristic of citizen judges. Secondly, the characteristic of professional judges. So firstly, the characterization of citizen judges. Under this, two things. First of all, they say that citizen judges can make neutral decision. However, two responses. However, this is not true. Two reasons why. First of all, they have bias unconsciously. Citizens think that I don't have bias. Citizens think their own opinion is ordinary, correct. So that is why they are likely to have unconscious bias. So meaning that even if they don't have intention that I want to make, even if they don't have intention that I want to make unusual decision, because it is unconscious, because it is a thing that think of unconscious, so meaning that they cannot make neutral decision. So for instance, if there is a minority judge, for instance LGBTQ, if one team said we can protect vulnerable LGBTQ people, so if it is true, they are likely to vote for that team. This is because they think that protecting this kind of LGBTQ minority person is important. So that is the point of which the decision of citizen judges are likely to be biased. Yes.
We said that there are unconscious bias, but we clearly explained that there are enough number of people, so that unconscious bias is harder to be reflected. How do you think of it?
I think it is if you increase the number of citizen judges, it is actually bad, because these kind of citizen judges are likely to fight during the time that we make RFD, because they think that I want to vote this team. However, others are likely to say I want to vote this team because they can protect vulnerable people. So that is why the number is not so important. Rather, it is bad. That is the answer for you. And the second reason that why citizens are likely to make that biased decision is that they don't have enough knowledge. They might say that they can inform inform the knowledge of debating before the competition. However, I think it is not effective. This is because to understand the rules, we need a lot of time. For instance, some debater needs 1 year to understand the complete rule of debating. So that is why, because citizens don't have knowledge about debating, they are likely to make biased decisions. So that is a characteristic of citizen judges. So let's secondly talk about characteristic of professional judges. We think that this kind of judges is much more better because as our first and second speaker could explain, we don't have to explain unnecessary things. So that is why debater can enjoy speech by explaining, like, I want to flip their argument, or I want to weigh their argument, why our argument is more important, and so on. So that is why the debater can enjoy their speech because of characteristic of professional judges. Therefore, given that, why this kind of decision of judges is very important? This is because uniquely during debate competition, where we have to compete each other, we have to care about which side can win, which is a clear and neutral decision is more important. So that is why in terms of decision, we win this debate. So let's secondly talk about speech. Under this, three things. First of all, matter. Secondly, manner. And thirdly, skills. So firstly, about manner. They say that the speech of debaters are likely to be audience friendly. However, they are likely to be audience friendly. We concede their mechanization, but we oppose the value judgment what they say. They say that audience friendly matter is good. However, this is not true. This is because as I proved before, they have to explain unnecessary things. For instance, even if I say I want to flip their claim, I have to explain flip is what we can change. We can change the value judgment, or I can change the mechanization I made. I have to explain this in every time that I made the rebuttals for flip. So that is why the debater, audience-friendly speech in terms of matter is very bad. So secondly, let's talk about manner. They say that debater care about manner uniquely on their side of the house. However, this is not true. Two actors under this. First of all, the debater who care about matter also on our side of the house. For instance, Onomichi-san or the WSDC members on YouTube. So this kind of students care about money a lot because they think that money is very important. So that is why this kind of actor will not change their speech style on both sides of the house. But we oppose the situation that debaters care about money too extremely, meaning they care about the rhetoric too much, or they care about the voice too extremely. So that is kind of situation we oppose. The second actor here, the debater who don't care about money, also in current situation. I think this kind of actor also don't change their money. This is because also as the second speaker pointed out in her point of information, also on their side of the house, when they practice debating, they will be judged by professional judges. So that is why I'm not sure the reason as to why this kind of debater will change their speech style uniquely during debating competition. We think it is unlikely. This is because the debating competition is a place that we can show the result of a practice. So that is why this kind of debaters are likely to change their speaking style. So therefore, in terms of money, we think their argument is completely symmetric. So third thing to talk is about skill. They say that debating skill is not important. However, we think that this is very important. This is because when we use debating matter for instance flipping or kicking out, we feel the very big satisfaction in terms of this. So that is why debating skill is very important. Then, thirdly, about weighing. Even if the debating becomes audience friendly, within a protected debater's enjoyment is more important. I think this is intuitive. This is because who are actors who practice a lot? Who are actors who listen debating recording a lot? Who are actors who use their voice a lot and standing on the stage? So that is why giving enjoyment to use skill and use structure we learn from teachers is very important for debaters. So that is why to protect debaters, I oppose.
Thank you for that
imagine, you have worked for hours and hours every day with your teammates and with your teacher so that you will be able to win this kind of HPDU competition. However, when you face the HPDU competition, the judge in front of you is a random citizen who just happened to be selected. And when those kind of judges give you an RFD and you somehow lose, they will say, well, you explain a lot of this mechanism, blah, blah, blah. However, while the proposition side protects the most vulnerable people, so I guess they win. You will feel very frustrated and you will question why you worked for hours and hours for this. Being that this kind of problems will be solved on our side of the house and this kind of things should be prevented. Therefore, you're very proud to oppose. 2 classes in my speech. First class is about the accurate judging. Second class is about the entertaining for debaters. First class about the accurate judging. We think that accuracy is a prerequisite to judge because if we don't give an accurate judge an accurate RFD, accurate feedback, no debaters will be able to improve their debate and also it will just be a multi ballot competition because it is not accurate. Then given that, what does the proposition side told you? They simply told you that actually many citizens are not fully biased and also some qualified judges are also actually biased, therefore they win. However, we think this is simply not true and we are superior because first of all, we think that this problem with citizen judges is that they really suffer to actually track all the mechanisms. Therefore, when they are pumped with all of these kind of mechanisms given for all 6 debaters, they are likely to focus more on big words. These kind of things are likely to be really happen because people already have the tendency that they want to focus on big words and also when they hear those kind of big words, they're likely to be really influenced. For example, if you're protecting all the people, many people intuitively think that they are the most powerful teams. And also when you hear that they are protecting the most vulnerable people, especially maybe if you are somehow like minority and if you think that those kind of minority people are really important from the start, you're likely to make those kind of teams win rather than seeing the really small mechanisms and the small nuances of those kind of teams. Therefore, being that actually in terms of accuracy, these kind of citizens lack some of them. However, for qualified debaters, they will be able to look at not only the big words but also the small mechanisms behind those kind of big words, whether they are really protecting this with the motion and so on. Therefore, they will be able to do a better accurate RFD. And this kind of things are possible because they have practiced a lot of debating and furthermore they have more experience of this and also they have been, like for example, practice more debating or listen to more recording and so on. Therefore, we think in terms of accuracy, we completely win this debate. The second question about the entertaining for debaters, this is a really important point that we want to point out. This is because the debaters are the ones that really work hard for this kind of competitions. And given that this motion is only for tournaments, we think that this is really important because many people have a lot of ambition that they want to win, and also they have to do a lot of hard work to go toward those kind of ambition. Therefore, they should be able to really entertain these kind of things. We think that there are 2 important things to do so. First of all, is that your argument or your rebuttal is accurately evaluated. Second thing is that you'll be able to also explore a lot of metrics, a lot of rebuttals, a lot of mechanisms. We think that the second part is really important too. This is that even if there are only simple arguments, you'll be able to really entertain. However, first of all, we think that speech style is also important on our side of the house. What we really want to highlight to you is that on their side of the house, these kind of things will be too important that they won't even be able to explain the more mechanisms that they really want to tell you, or even maybe flip the argument that they really want to do. We think that this is the most problematic thing, and furthermore, because these kind of debaters won't find this kind of debating really entertainment, they won't even have the motivation to actually continue this kind of thing, or maybe opt into this kind of thing in the first place. We think that this is a point that we should protect. Therefore, we're very proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Let's say calling on the government reply. Here.
think it's representing a lot of audiences. HPDU is like audience first. Like the debaters need ability to, they don't need ability to talk fast or to to abbreviate with difficult words or like to propose difficult mechanism that only professional judges can understand. But the debaters need ability to like actually convince the citizen judges, and needs like the reply speakers, myself, like to summarize the points from debate to clarify why they win this debate. So that's why on this point we clearly support this motion. So let me summarize this debate. So I'm going to talk about 2 points, like the debate judging decisions and also the debaters. Firstly, like the decisions, like both sides saying like about the big words. They say like because just they are vulnerable or something, the normal citizen will be overbelieve it is true. But we can say, as our second speaker explained, like there's a rebuttals, and the debaters needed to make effort to change the audience's mind or audience's the thoughts that or audience's like assumption to like the techniques or their clear logic to them. And also like suddenly and moreover like those citizens suddenly brought to like HPDU tournament, and they are like might be interested in like what the high school student like us will talk about, and they will be not like voting irrationally, but they can hear what they are saying, and I think they will be interested in that point. And even if you consider this point, but as our side explained, like that even judges can overbelieve that there's a flip or I win this debate and their argument it doesn't stand. Even for judges it's very difficult to see all mechanism or like all things such things. So even our and both of the sides there's like the influences of big words or like various things. And also secondary like about rules, they say like that debaters has rules that the normal citizen can recognize, but this is not true. They didn't say like what kinds of rules is what kinds of rules is that, and also that citizen can recognize rules that there is like can recognize those rules. And next about the debaters, like debaters are overbelieving like professional judges, like thinking they understand difficult mechanism easily and they can abbreviate words, and this is rather worst case. On our side, like the debaters will try to give straightforward debate, and like debaters will need to explain difficult mechanism more detailed. And rather this is a very important point. And no one think different mechanism, computer logic will be like proven with the short explanation. But like also my teacher always said to me, your argument logic is very weak or not sufficient, because beginner when I first started debating, I just over believing the judges will understand or what I'm going to say. So like but in the now, I'm like thinking about how to make the judges to understand or how they can illustrate in their minds. This is much more fun to think about this logical way. And also they explained that debaters will not be able to enjoy logical speeches, but however they didn't explain like how speech techniques or like speed expression or the deciding what words to choose like not enjoy it's and like much not enjoyable too. And debater can practice because they say like debaters can't practice because they are no judges of citizen. But no matter who the judges they are still can practice to not use the word like flip or other industrial words. So that's why we are support this motion, and we are very enjoying this debate. Thank you.
Good job for surviving and